2020, there was $4.2 billion in online fraud. Now, what most experts say is that there's probably between 3 and 5 times as much fraud happened than what's reported. Some people are ashamed or afraid to report it because they realize afterwards they've been scammed. Some people, even after it happens, don't realize they've been scammed. And so with all those different multiples involved, we can probably feel comfortable. It's probably somewhere between 12 and $20 billion that actually of fraud that happened in 2020. And what's interesting is based on, I think, the pandemic primarily, but there was a 69% increase in people reporting fraud in 2020 relative to 2019. Now, that's not saying that there was 69% more fraud, just where a lot more people were impacted. Almost, an additional 7 in 10 people reported fraud in 2020 than they did in 2019. So that's probably partly from the pandemic. A lot of us were working from home. Our home computers don't have all the same security features that our work computers have. Plus, scamsters they're always adapting and always trying to stay up with current events. So they were probably able to get more people from the pandemic to basically respond to their fake needs and wants, so to speak. And I see a couple other people have joined us. So Charlotte, thanks for joining. Dorothy and Lois, thanks for joining. We just got started. Basically, my name is Philip. And I'll be your guide on this. And I do like the classes to be, I do like the classes to be interactive. So for everyone, just, please chime in when you have any questions, just unmute yourself. Also for the FBI, almost half the people that did report some type of fraud against them were over 50 years of age. So we're a particularly vulnerable group, most of the Get Set Up people. And then for people 16 above, the primary successful scam, what really worked was some non-existent issue that the scamsters made you think was a problem. So the two most common ones is they will say that your bank account has been compromised or that your computer has a virus, when neither one is true. However, if you play along with them and get involved, they will then make it so it does become true, because they're going to get a hold of your, basically take control of your computer and cause problems. So again, the issue is these were non-existent problems when you picked up that phone call, but by getting involved with them, it became a problem. So it's just something that we need to think about and be just very mindful of. Okay, so Dave, that's fine. I see you just, Dave told me that he can't put his camera on, but that's fine. I was just hoping you could see me at least. So, all right, let's go over here. We'll skip and we'll come back. So I said we think about how a hacker works. So this is a reformed hacker that's giving us some of his tips. And really the whole point is, he says the hackers go after the lowest hanging fruit. So this is no different. Hackers is just a modern day version of breaking into your house when you're away at work, that happened 10, 15 years ago. And typically, what the burglars did is they would just go from back door to back door until they found the door that was unlocked, right? They're not going to spend a lot of time trying to pick the lock, trying to break a lot of glass, make noise. They're just going to go and find the door that's unlocked and then go in, take some things and move on. So in the real world, in the electronic world, in the virtual world, basically the same things. The hackers are looking for computers that aren't fairly well protected. And what that means is getting into your passwords, quite honestly. That's the key, is to get into your password. So what the hacker suggests is, the reformed hacker suggests that you use a password manager. So what a password manager does is it makes up some very long, unrecognizable passwords for you that you don't need to remember. And that's how you get into passwords. Because what happens, a lot of us use very common passwords. We use our child's name, our dog's name. We put in 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't change it. We put in ABCD. We put in some easily gained personal information about us, or don't even change the password from the 1, 2, 3, 4 that it's set at. So the hacker's saying, protect your password and make it super hard to break. So what is a password manager? So Get Set Up, Wade with Get Set Up has a full 1-hour class on password manager. So if you want a lot more details, I would suggest you take that class with Wade. But in a real brief summary, you have to remember one password, and you want to have that one. That's your own password. And then as you go into your websites, you can ask the password manager to make a different password, which is very hard to break for each of your different websites. So that's what it does in a nutshell. This password manager, various companies have them. There's 4 or 5 well-known password managers out there. All of them have a free service. They also have a paid service. Like I said, Wade will go into a lot more details, but basically the paid service doesn't give you more security. The paid service gives you some more options, however, but the free service will get you with the password manager what you need if that's all you want. And probably the worst thing that can happen to you is that somebody gets a credit card in your name without you even knowing about it. And I'll explain how this happens in a minute. But basically, if that happens, you will probably not know about it for 4 to 6, maybe even 8 months before they figure out what happens. And at that point, you're going to have a bunch of credit card bills charged to your name, to your social security number, to your date of birth, and it all ties back to you, and you did not even know it was happening. So what's happened behind the scenes is a hacker has gotten a hold of your 4 key pieces of information: your name, your address, your birth date, and your social security number. And then they have gone in and applied for credit in your name. And then as soon as they get the credit, they change the address to a different address. So all the bills go to someplace and you're not aware of them. And this is very unfortunate, very dangerous, very hard to get out of. So what the scammer suggests is that you do 2 things. You monitor your credit reports and you consider doing a credit freeze. So there are 3 main credit card providers out there. And at the end of this class, as I think all of you know, you'll get an email that's from Get Set Up. It's really something I've put together as far as the email. And in there, I'm going to give you the names of the 3 credit card companies and how to reach them by email or by phone. And you can then request your credit from them, a credit report from them, and you will then monitor that to see if indeed there's any new credit out there that you weren't aware of. And then also you can do a credit freeze. Now, a credit freeze basically means no one, including you, can get a new credit card or get any credit card or any credit information because you put a freeze on your entire